Hi everybody, McBeard here. Welcome back to another Novigrad card review. I believe we're on number 5, and we got some really spicy cards delivered to us on Monday and Tuesday. After a pretty eventful weekend where we saw some very strong Witch Hunter cards, now we're getting back into some of the big players for Firesworn, and some good cards in general. We're going to start things off here with Procession of Tenants, revealed by Nod Live, who apparently had to get a Twitter account just to reveal this card. This is a 6 provision point, 10 strength unit, with a deploy effect of damaging itself by 6. Reduce this damage by 1 for every Firesworn Zealot you control. And if you're just catching up, Firesworn Zealots are 2 strength vanilla units that are spawned by all sorts of other cards. Think Ekamara in Monsters. So this card has a potential to see big value because it's only a 6 provision point card, and every Firesworn Zealot you play just makes this more and more valuable. It starts to gain value around like 3 or 4 of them. And it seems like there's a lot of ways to produce it, especially now that we've seen the leader that produces them. Lots of ways to get tons of Zealots on the board, and this also has synergy with anything that summons, anything like Becker's Twisted Mirror that damages, or anything that heals like that. So this card has just tons of potential and doesn't really, as a combo piece, doesn't cost that much. I think this card's going to see play, and I'm excited to see, like, it's not so much that if it's going to see play, it's going to see play. Just like Caldwell, just like Goliath, we're going to see these cards with these drawbacks. They're going to see play. So it's just, how is this card going to be played is what we're going to find out. Excommunication. This is a pretty cool card, only in that it's also 6 provision points. It's a special card here, and I believe it's a crime, but don't quote me on it. This card's interesting because it's kind of like Decoy, but it's cheaper than Decoy. But I don't think people are going to play it because nobody's really playing Decoy, not even in a Tactics deck. It's a 6 provision point special card. Banish an allied unit and then play the top unit from your deck. Sorry, the top card from your deck. Obviously, lots of interaction with the little weenie units you're going to have in those Firesworn Zealots, or potentially something on your board that you just don't want on your board. Perhaps Rot Tossers make a big comeback. Perhaps Sabrina makes a comeback and you can interact with it. And it banishes that unit as well. So there's that, if that ever has any application for you. But I just don't think it's going to see play because it's an effect that people don't seem to like very much. Calvin doesn't see much play. They had to push him pretty hard. And even then, he's not, I don't know. I'm really out of the meta. Don't quote me on that. But they had to really push Calvin's ability. Albrick doesn't really see play because it's kind of a really bad top deck. Same with Fisher King, bad top deck. Playing the top card from the deck just may not be good sometimes. This isn't a great top deck either. So I just don't think it's going to see play. Damnation. Shout out to Devil Driven revealing this one, and also shout out to Pagable for revealing Excommunication. Devil Driven here revealing Damnation, a 9 provision point special card. Probably a crime. Damage 3 adjacent enemy units by 2 for each enemy unit destroyed. As in, it says death blow, and then it says enemy for every enemy unit destroyed. So it's a little redundant. Spawn a Firesworn Zealot for each enemy unit destroyed on the opposite row. So the better the board is for you, the more value you can get out of this card. And then anything that cares about Firesworn Zealots, like the aforementioned Procession of Penance, you just keep getting that value from this card. So it is, I think, appropriately costed. It is expensive for a special, but if you're trying to get those special cards in there, there's a lot of stuff. A lot of Syndicate cards care about special cards. So special cards that get you huge value, I got my eye on you. It seems like it could be value-wise just a better Manticore Venom just because it's better costed. And you could probably sculpt the board with like Witch Hunter Executioner specifically, something that can ping for 1 all across the board. You could build a board here where you can damage those units. And don't forget about Prince Willem. Don't forget about that card. So Prince Willem allows you to set up a board that's favorable for Damnation. So I think this card is actually going to feel like old Wolfsbane, where you can easily build a board for this card to maybe get 12 points of value on you that continues to build from there. Especially if you have spawn engines, and of course if you have the Procession of Penance. It might even feel like old Wild Boar of the Sea as well. I just think for its provision cost, this card's just going to get tons of value, and I think it's going to be, as Hug Hog pointed out in the chat, could be a game winner. I think this card's going to be great. Moving right along, our final Northern Realms dual faction card. I'm going to double check the name of this one. It is Nathaniel Pastodi. This is revealed by Bargain and Zones. and it is a Northern Realms dual faction card. Only 7 provisions for a 5 strength body that is an engine like a Tridem Infantry wishes it was. Where Tridem Infantry is 2 arms, this guy is 4 arms. Whenever this unit receives a boost, give bleeding to a random enemy unit for 2 turns. Wow, this card can quickly start to melt a board, and he is already 5 points to begin with. Meave can immediately boost him, and if you hit a night hit on this guy, forget about it. So I think this guy has incredible potential. He is just, if you win round 1 and you drop this guy and you get him set up, what can you do? What can your opponent do? It bypasses everything. It bypasses all immune, so it's random enemy, right? You say random like it's a bad thing, but if you hate unitless and low interaction decks, you're going to want this guy on the board for you. But give him a shield if you can. Prophet Lebioda can help with that. Maybe get some Avalok in the mix. Maybe have something else to absorb the big removal, like something else that's kind of low cost but very threatening, like Visigoda of Corvos. So I think that this guy in Northern Realms, he's just, God, it's just the opportunity cost is so low for such a strong card. Also, you're playing other Tridems in this with this guy, right? This guy's just Daddy Tridem. I love this card. He's so damn good for NR. I don't even know if he's good for Syndicate. I mean, sure, he's probably fine, but this is a Northern Realms card that I'm reviewing right here. So good. Slander. So this is another cheap crime. 4 provision points for a special card. Profit 3. Place a bounty on an enemy unit. The value for bounty, I think, is really up in the air. I think people are speculating that it's going to be quite good. Some people are speculating that it's not going to be that fast. I really don't know. But I think that when you're looking at a card to do this effect, the Witch Hunter, who we already saw, is likely going to be good as well because you get that 4 strength up front. But this is a special card, and there's a lot of cards that care about special cards. There are cards, of course, that care about Witch Hunters as well. So it seems like it's like pick your flavor. Whatever you want to do, you're not going to be able... You can put a bounty on no matter how you want to play. You want to play with units, you want to play with special cards, you can put a bounty on somebody. So it's good for that reason, and the faction is better for that flexibility. Cyrus Hemmelfart, the leader of the Firesworn. 16 provision points, coming in at 166 provision cap. Order, spawn and summon a Firesworn Zealot to an allied row with 3 charges, and once all charges have been exhausted, gain 2 coins. So this guy doesn't really care about the coins, but it's a nice extra bonus because there are a lot of cards that do care about coins in general. It's really hard probably to build a deck for Syndicate that doesn't care about coins. So I think that there's a lot of ways to spend and generate coins, and this guy just gets a little extra value like Morvran does. Gets to put 6 points on the board like Morvran does, and you can get that extra value, just like that big extra value that we're thinking is going to be coming in from Damnation, and the extra value we can reap from Procession of Penance. Our boy Cyrus, our big boy Cyrus, looks like he's going to be able to make use of cards like that. Plus, he has a higher provision cap than the other 2 leaders, so it's looking like he can build just like a little bit of a stronger deck. Safely, this card is great, and Damnation is great. So, you know, the provision points just look better and better when you see that the leader that you that has the ability you care about the most. Like if you've been looking at this Firesworn Zealot stuff and licking your lips, this is your guy right here. You're happy to know that 16 is above average. I think these days we can say safely 16 is above average. So, you know, he's got it looks like he's got enough to feed himself and his army. Our boy Cyrus Hemmelfart, 3 out of the 5 leaders revealed, and we're just 4 days away, my friends. Well, it's even less than that, right? It's Tuesday. By the time you watch this, probably Wednesday. Thursday, I'm going to be revealing another 12 cards, and then we're just going to play. How about that? Next up, we have the return of Philippa Eilhart. Big return for a character that left Gwent, much like Dijkstra, returning with a different card art, although this is called Philippa Eilhart. So her old card where she's shooting the zappies, no longer being seen here, and I can't wait to see this premium. Had a question in the chat, quick lore moment. Why would Philippa be in this faction? Well, she was originally in Northern Realms, but she's not really a friend of the Realms. In fact, if you played Witcher 2, you could say that she's staunchly against the Realms and wants to destroy it. And if you've also played Witcher 2, you know that she was, she was helping the scoia'tael, but she wasn't really helping them with good intentions and, in fact, was manipulating them. So I don't think that she belongs in scoia'tael either. So since she's generally a jerk, kind of a shitty person, Philippa, I think she is absolutely in the correct faction. And it would be weird if Radovid was also in this faction. So I'm starting to think more and more, Radovid is not going to be the final leader. Radovid maybe ends up with Redania in Northern Realms. But I don't know. Are we going to see more leaders for more factions? It seems like that's the logical progression. Anyway, let's talk about this card. It's Philippa Eilhart, and she's a great card. 10 provision points. Big boy card for the Syndicate. 3 strength. On deploy, spend a number of crowns equal to an enemy's unit's power. Sorry, an enemy unit's power. Then seize it. Oh man, this is a huge card. This card can seize up to 9 points of power, which is, of course, equal to 18 points, which means that she can be up to 21 points. But of course, we're saying bounty is slow. We're saying maybe profit is slow. When you look at a card like this, it ain't slow. But it's more important also, you want to look at, sorry, this card is too big and Philippa's too small, so I have my zoom stuff. I want to immediately look at Sigi Reuven really quick because this guy gets you a lot of money if you're building a deck around him. So Philippa Eilhart and Sigi Reuven, they have a lore-based relationship, right? It's so awesome that you play Sigi, you get 9 coins potentially with your 5 different gangs, and then Philippa comes down and then you can use those 9 coins to seize a huge unit. So how sweet is that? That it's like, you know, as Sigi always thought, you know, maybe there's a connection there, guys. There's a connection, but I don't think Philippa ever saw it. Tragic story, but the cards really are going to work well together. So that's your lore moment. This has been McBeard. Have a great night. In all seriousness, we have seen the bombs. Like, how many more bombs can Syndicate have? They are, the high provision cards are big value cards, right? Still don't know anything about Wholesome Jr. Wholesome Jr. Wholesome Jr. It's like the PG Gwent. That's so good. Wholesome Jr. And King of Beggars. So we don't really know exactly like what monsters is going to get. You excited for the Nilfgaard ones? There's so much mystery behind them. I know. What could they be, right? Syndicate. Arena monsters, right? So they're just like beat up, like kind of like the Attorney Shaelmar. So we went real quick through that, but Slander was revealed by Lord of Gwent. Cyrus Hemmelfart revealed by the Artiste, one of my favorite artists because he did Triss Telekinesis, one of my favorite arts, and also he's just a great artist and a good guy. Lorenzo Mastriani, shout outs to my boy. Philippa Eilhart revealed by Gwent 24, and now we're going to get into Fistak, revealed by Roman Babayan. All right, Fistak, not too much to say about this card. 4 provision point, special card, which is a crime, profit 3, poison a unit. So if you're playing a deck that wants to poison units, you're down for this card. If you're playing something like with Triss Telekinesis, the aforementioned Triss Telekinesis, you have extra poison abilities. Plus you have the Back Alley Chemist that is also delivering poison as well as a boost. You also have the Wretched Addict that wants to be poisoned because he gets boosted when he's poisoned. And of course there's neutral cards like Devil's Puffball. So you could use this in a controlling way or a boosty way. And it's just got just more layers of complexity and interesting ways of building with Syndicate. I think there's cool stuff going on in this card here. The Witch Hunter making a return. The Witch Hunter, regardless of what you've heard, the true story is that the Witch Hunter is the result of the contest. Get yourself in a Gwent card. This is the winner. Put into a Gwent card. This is the Witch Hunter. 4 provision points for a 4 strength card. On deploy, place a bounty on an enemy unit. So I talked about this card when I talked about Slander. I was going to click this one. When I talked about Slander, so Slander is place a bounty and you get a profit at the same time. And the Witch Hunter is place a bounty and you get a 4-point body at the same time, but you also get a 4-point body that could have been boosted by Tamara Strangler. Multiple times, perhaps. I think both cards end up being great endgame cards to be used with Graydon, who kills a unit with a bounty that also, with the right amount of money, boosts itself by the base value of that card. So I think with Graydon and Tamara, this is the card. But Slander could be good too. I really don't know. I mean, whatever one's going to get you the more points and still kind of do the same thing is going to be the card you play. I think just because this card could be a 5 or even a 6 in a really janky deck, potentially a 6. Whereas Slander is just profiting you 2 coins. I think we're going to see more play out of the Witch Hunter. But then, of course, there's always the people who like those unitless decks, and there's a lot of cards that like crimes. So we're going to see. And now it's the return of another huge character in lore, Sigi Reuven, a 12 provision point card. So this guy is a big player in the Syndicate, but he has 2 key uses. I'm going to go through them in a moment. But first, I want to talk about the cool lore stuff that Sigi has. I already talked about his interaction with Philippa. Well, that's one of the key uses I already talked about. So I'll skip that one because you're watching this all in the same video. But Sigi Reuven here, as a man in Novigrad, having his hand in all the gangs, great flavor here. But him as the Redanian general, perhaps a card that could be brought in as a card from the past. And of course, the man that you know as DJ Dijkstra, Sigismund Dijkstra, would be the man that this card's character becomes. So it's kind of like a middle piece in the lore based on the timeline of the Syndicate and Novigrad, and it's really, really well done. This card is a beast. Not only does it fill your horde right up for Philippa Eilhart, it also fills your horde right up for the Flying Redanian, which is the card that comes out of your deck or graveyard when you hit 9 coins. This card might as well say Profit 9 if you are building a deck around it. So the Redanian's going to come out immediately. So you play 4 points. You play 4 points on the board. You get the Flying Redanian, and then you can spend it on Philippa next turn. Seems good. What you're saying, it's even better. He's also an Intimidate card. He's also an engine. This card is disgusting. It's a very, very expensive card, but this card is disgusting. This is the Vernon Roach of the Syndicate. This card is absolutely so rich with value. I love this card. I hope he's not too good. I just love this card. He can do so much for you. It's a round 3 bomb. The round 3 is looking pretty clear. Let's do it again. I'll show you round 3 in 3 acts. Act 1, get the Flying Redanian in your graveyard. Act 2, play Sigi Reuven with 5 gangs in your starting deck. That plays the Flying Redanian from your deck. So you've played a sweet 4 and 4 with an engine on board, and then you're dropping Philippa Eilhart, and you're stealing whatever they have, whatever you want. Just stealing whatever you want. Round 3, looking pretty good. Using that one guy to reproc is, yeah, and then does Cesar Belzin, who is a Crown Splitter, if you need to fill out your Crown Splitter qualifications for Sigi's gang, his gang condition. I do believe, I mean, we don't really know how Cesar Belzin works. Will it re-trigger the 4 or the 9? Even if it's the 4, not the worst thing in the world. But if you have a stacked deck, and you should, Syndicate has so many ways of thinning and stacking the deck. The Syndicate's round 3 is going to be so terrifying. It's going to be Monsters-esque. Just massive, massive, scary-ass points. The faction is going to be competitive. Really, really good Gudrun. Really, really good Gudrun deck right here. Going to be the Woodland Spirit of Syndicate, I'm pretty sure. Here's Tamara Strangler. I mean, this is a great card because she's only 7p. She's coming into 4 strength with the deploy of boosting all allied witch hunters by 1. If you want to pay the fee of 3, says she, the tribute of 3 more appropriately, you boost all allied witch hunters in your hand and deck and the battlefield by 1. And if you want to replay her, however you want to do that with a renew by decoying her back in the deck perhaps, or you can't excommunicate her unfortunately because it banishes her. But however way you want to do it, you make cards like Witch Hunter, Graydon, Morels, Kurt, cards that are already pretty damn good and pretty good for what they cost. You make them even better. This card is not the best top deck, so you do want to be sure to get this card. She's not a high opportunity cost, but there's a lot of great cards at 7, like the Pastodi brothers. And Kurt isn't much more expensive than this. And you might be wanting to play cards like Sigi Reuven and such. Witch Hunters are also not a gang. So Tamara does come at, she is slow, but she does have huge carryover potential. Huge carryover. What I will say is that she may end up being a cut. And I think that people are going to try to meme with her before they realize that just playing her once is pretty good. And sometimes late game, you just need to play her for her deploy because you don't care about your deck anymore. It doesn't matter about the tribute anymore. She might actually end up being an underrated card. Underrated by me. Townsfolk is the last card we're going to be talking about today. A pretty good engine. Appropriately costed for good engines. Maybe too high of a cost, but boy, does this card get you value. Every coin you get pays for itself immediately in this card. It's a 6 provision point, 4 strength engine. Whenever you gain crowns, boost self by 1. I'm not sure. I think this is worded in that it boosts itself by the amount of crowns you get, but this also could be every instance of gaining crowns is boosting by 1, which would make this card a little bit worse and possibly overcosted. But again, this is a Syndicate card, so you can't look at it. You have to look at it like an engine outside of Northern Realms. So that, of course, comes with its downsides. There's no Morvran here to boost this card. There's no Meath here to boost this card. It's a 6 provision point engine. It probably won't make the cut, but it immediately pays for itself if you have any sort of ways of profiting immediately when you play this card. Any sort of order to profit, anything that profits when you do stuff. We've already seen a card that profits when you spawn cards, but I think this card is just too slow. It's going to get killed. It's going to bait removal, but it's expensive. So I think there might be better cards at bait removal, better engines at 4 that might do it. I think this card is just a little bit too expensive. I don't know what you guys think about this card. Thanks for watching the video, my friends. Hope you have a great night. Hope you enjoy the rest of your week, but I'll see you at least tomorrow or the next day for more reveals. We'll have another 12 at least by Thursday, and then we're playing on Friday. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks.